Hey y'all, it's Wilbur. This is a fun game where we have basically everything that could go wrong went wrong with the starting units and the starting specialists for me. And this game kind of goes over digging out of the grave, this pit that I got into just from picking a specialist and the starting units I got. So I started Fire Badger Specialist. I think is a very strong specialist. And I love Tarantula Marksman start right now because the Marksman cover the weakness of the Tarantulas, which is getting through medium units efficiently. My opponent got Sabertooth Specialist. So not only that, he has Stormcallers and Fangs. So Stormcallers are going to sit back and kill my board, while the Fangs tank my marksman shots, and my Tarantulas might not even get close enough to these Stormcallers to do any damage. And then when our unit drop comes, I get a Fire Badger and my opponent has a Sabertooth that instantly counters it. So we'll see how how you can try to navigate the situation other than just surrendering around one when you're in this kind of situation. So here my opponent, I think I'll just speed up through this first round, but my opponent's Neo Pulse, I think he was also quite a bit higher than me on the ladder this game. Whenever I get in these kinds of situations, when I have Tarantulas, I think I need to be placed pretty wide, so I don't usually do my asymmetric start anymore against Stormcallers. I usually do a kind of wide start because a lot of the times when I've been doing asymmetric starts, my opponent just puts like 2 more Stormcallers down on the asymmetric side, and then my aggro push is pretty much just shut down from the Stormcallers. So now I've been kind of playing wide and playing the whole board, so this opens up flanks on the left and the right. So you're not just kind of this one-trick pony with the Tarantula into these Stormcallers. But I know these Tarantulas are probably not long for this world in this game. We're probably going to be selling them out of them because Sabertooth is just annihilates Tarantulas. Like, it's just such a hard counter. It's probably the hardest counter other than the Stormcaller in the game for Tarantulas, I would say, out of the ground units, like an early game. So round 1 I do okay. We get through most of the board other than Stormcallers. Maybe managed to take down a couple of them with this Marksman. So, not really a bad round 1. I was expecting much worse, but it's going to be a while before we dig ourselves out of the hole that this early game is going to be. So right away we get a unit drop. We get Sledges, Rhinos, Farseers, and Steel Balls. I think there are quite a few decent options here for us. We could play the long game with the Sledge. We could play some aggressive Rhino here. We could take the Farseer for the long con as well. And I think you can argue Steel Ball fills a similar role to the Rhino at this point in the game. I mean, both of them have pretty good odds of getting into the tower this round if we can dodge the Sabertooth deployments. So I also have my Fire Badger this round. So we have lots of action going to happen. I think my opponent ends up buying 2 Sabertooths, and so you can see I took the Rhino, put him over here on the right. I also flanked with the Fire Badger. We deployed a Crawler here, grabbed our mobile beacon. So we're trying to get that Rhino in there with an escort from these Crawlers. And we've also taken our field recovery and already sold out of one of these Rhinos. I mean, one of these Tarantulas, because we know we're probably going to get Sabertooth deployment. That's just going to instantly pop it this round. And I immediately unlocked the Mustang, because we're probably going to need it. I mean, there's a lot of Fangs on the board already. Well, unfortunately, our Badger was missiled this round, so we don't even get any help from our Badger. Our Rhino looks like it's going to get in, punch that tower before we lose out on the left side, but just because of how these units have been, and I sold out of that Tarantula, there's almost nothing left on the left side of the map anyway. So we don't have enough left to take the round, but we did clear out our opponent's right side, saving some HP. would have been probably a total stomp if I just played like kind of a standard, left that tarantula there, maybe bought the sledges or something like that, because they would also been rolled over by those saber-tooths. So again, taking damage. We're going to be taking damage for a while before we can turn anything around here. So we get a card round. Lots of good options here. I think all these are great early game cards. I'm in kind of desperation mode from the start, so I grab the bombardment right away because I know I'm going to need band-aid solutions to this early game board for a while. So I bombard the right side, hoping that I can get that rhino through again. Take that tower. I sell out of my fire badger this round because I know it's going to be countered. My opponent has deployed 2 saber-tooths on the top right. And now I grab a cheese wraith, hoping that there won't be enough anti-air on board once the dust settles over here, and that the wraith will clear up, or clean everything up. I put a vertical crawler on the tower and level this tower to 2. So we're going to be playing a strong side, weak side. And I also grabbed the damage upgrade to help the Mustangs and the Wraith do a bit more damage. So here we can see, watch the Sabertooth. It's probably just going to decimate this Rhino. Don't know if we get into the tower. We got 2 Sabertooths pounding down. Yeah, stop to punch the Stormcaller, and that's all she wrote for a Rhino. Or Bombard, taking out mostly everything except the 3 Sabertooths. And now our Wraith does go get home on the tower. Their Rhino is slowly beating down this tower with the debuff. So now our Wraith has to chew through all these pretty tough medium units, and it's just not got the damage. So even with this area superiority, there's too many chunky units in front of this pack of fangs for the Wraith to get through, and we actually are going to lose this round. This Wraith's going to fall to these fangs. I mean, doing everything I can to hang on in this game, and it's still not enough to win a round. I don't even think we get a level. Oh, we do get a level here on the Wraith. That's kind of a fairly big deal. So we get another card round. I take the haste mod. A lot of decent options here. Mass-produced fortress is always a blast. I think mobilized mothership's a little early. 200 is pretty expensive at this point in the game. And we get a wasp swarm. So I put the haste mod onto the Wraith right away. Grab 3 sets of Stormcallers. Stormcallers are kind of my answer to the Sabertooth. The anti-missile attack on Sabertooth is pretty inefficient. So that's what I chose to do with that. I also grabbed both of the tower upgrades for attack and defense. My opponent hasn't committed anything too much yet. He's grabbed some marksmen to deal with this Wraith. He's also going to missile this side this round. He puts them right on top of one another and buys the aerial specialization. So this Wraith probably also going to be countered this round. So we're flying in with the haste mod, only to die to these stupid marksmen. We do get the tower. Oh, no, the Wraith does survive. Forgot about that. Just barely getting into the tower in time. Over here, this nasty Rhino is still getting home on our tower every round. But there's not a lot we can do about it. We don't want to commit too much to that left side, so we're just going to let him have fun. I think our Wraith this time has enough HP, and we have some backup this time to take care of these fangs, and we finally get on the board on round 4, doing some damage to Neon Pulse, or Neo Pulse. Another card round, we get Mass-Produced Fortress again to pop up. Supply enhancement, steel ball production, and improved sandworm. I think in this round I was really thinking, can I even afford to take supply enhancement? And because I mean I need every drop of money I can get because I've been selling units left and right. I'm pretty behind in deployments, But all the other cards are pretty magoo for me, and I ended up taking the supply enhancement. And I once again cheese with some oil. I want to slow this rhino down, so I drop the airstrip of oil down. My opponent's added a third marksman with anti-air to kill this wraith. Looks like I've leveled this Mustang, grabbed a second pack of Mustangs, added it here to get through these fangs. Added a crawler on the side here to distract all these units. But the oil is going to slow us down. There was a missile here. There's just too much getting in the way for our units to get through our wraith and our rhino. Oil doing a good job slowing this rhino down. Let me take out most of the units on this right side. We said this marksman is level 2 saber-tooth left. Now with double shot. Doing tons of damage. Now I'm losing around. You can see my opponent also no, he had Stormcallers. That's right. Yeah. I'm the guy that dropped all the Stormcallers. So this round I kind of got, I think, a little bit of a boon. We got the melting point on the unit drop, and I was like, I was already thinking that I'm going to need melters to help get through these saber-tooths. So I take the melting point, add range, also add range to my Mustangs, and I start to add some more, diversify my chaff. We now picked up the Fang as well. My opponent is sick of my Stormcallers and added the Missile Interceptor. And unfortunately for him, he also took Overlord the same turn. I grabbed the Melting Point. To save my Rhino, I Mobile Beacon him down, because right now he's kind of just dead in the water. I also sell the Wraith, because he's so countered by these triple marksmen, and I can get more use out of that haste mod if I just throw it onto my Mustang. I also do a Elite Recruit to get another level 2 Meltair on this side. So investing a lot of resources over here. You see the boat going down very quickly. We get a nice latch onto that big saber-tooth, and we're getting some nice use out of this Rhino now with Mole Beacon down and up. Coming in as a later tank and chaff unit with those crawlers that were on the side. Our melters were huge this round, taking down boats, taking down saber-tooths, and we have actually a decisive win this round. But we are losing our landing strip of oil next round, so that Rhino will be plowing in a little bit quicker. So we get quick teleport, deployment mod, super heavy armor, and advanced shield device. I take deployment module. I don't remember what my opponent took this round. Maybe super heavy. I'm not entirely sure here. But the reason why I took the deployment mod was I moved my Rhino down here, where I think I can get more use out of him. He can help block this level 3 Rhino. That's going to be plowing in. I also add a Melter on this side to help take that guy down. We put down 2 bubbles over here to protect our cluster of units. Let's see if we can find out what our opponent did. Not seeing. Oh, he also did the deployment mod and moved his boat from the right to the left to try to get in on this side that's my weak side. I'll finish the round by adding another bubble. So some map movements coming in. My opponent's also invested into some more Stormcallers. He's been seeing how effective mine is. He's gone ahead and purchased the Incendiary Bomb. That crawler that's over here paid some dividends again, taking that first Incendiary Bomb for the team. The double bullets meet their untimely end to the Mustang and the Melting Point that are now over here. And our Melters are reigning supreme with our Stormcallers. So another pretty clean round. We got a little lucky with the deployment module kind of being a flop for opponent. So we get the Mustang production line. I'm already invested in tech Mustangs, so it seems like a obvious choice for me. Nano repair is also a really good item for melters, and shield drops always good. I mean, all of these cards have their place in the game. All pretty good picks this round. But I know Mustangs are big. My opponent's got lots of fangs, and he's got overlords. So I put down the Mustang spawner on this solo melting point. My opponent takes that deployment mod overlord and goes for a really nice flank from the corner. So this round I have my bombard up again and bombard this right side, thinking I can end the game if I can get in there. I upgraded this melter and upgraded all of my Mustangs, added some anti-missile devices, noticing all the Stormcallers come down. My opponent also, I think this round, I might be wrong, he has Shielded Fangs now. Not sure I agree with that. Shielded Fangs with Mustangs on the board, I think is a bit of a waste. Shielded Fangs are better against kind of slower shooting units. So here comes that boat. Orbital Bombard is helping us clear out a lot of units and getting those latches onto the medium units. So we did get a latch before our tower drop, so we did end up KOing one of those sabers, which is a big deal. We probably would have lost our bubble if we didn't have that latch. So we did end up clearing out most of my opponent's board before this boat made it over to the second tower. A really nice play from my opponent, but just a little bit. That Orbital Bombard probably was enough to save me this round from this play. You know, if that Bombard hadn't been there, there would have been a lot more chaff on the board. And after that tower got popped, the chaff would have blocked for those sabers, and we might have saw this right side collapse between the Stormcallers and the sabers doing damage. Nice play, but a little too late. So this game, I really felt like there was no way to win just from like round one. I was like, my God, I have Fire Badgers that are going to be instantly countered by the Sabertooth. I'm already countered. My Tarantulas are already countered by the Stormcallers. This is going to be a rough game. But, I mean, a lot of early game moves, selling out of the Tarantulas, selling out of the Badger, just kind of one round use of the Badger up here to make my opponent drop some money on this side. We had that level 2 Wraith with the haste mod that was over here that I had to also sell out of because of this triple anti-air marksman. So I'm not sure what exactly went. I think I know exactly. The moment the game really switched in my favor was the unit drop turn where I got the melting point and my opponent took the overlord. Like, melting points are pretty good into overlords. There might be some cases where ground cannon would trump level 1 melting point, but it's really circumstantial, and I think melters I would give the win to most of the time. So I had a boon there. Maybe my opponent made a bad decision. Maybe he was worried about the boats more than the melters, but that was the turning point in the game when I got that pretty much free round because he grabbed those boats into the melter. I also think the Shielded Fangs is expensive, and my board I don't think calls for Shielded Fangs. You know, maybe he was thinking Shielded Fangs for the Stormcallers, but like, you have 2 high-level Mustangs just sitting behind him that are gonna like just rip through all those fangs anyway. So I would have liked to have seen that money go somewhere else. There wasn't a lot of late chaff on my opponent's board, so maybe some late crawlers would have been a good investment for a few deployments. And yeah, I think something as simple as anti-missile device over here would have made a big impact on the game as well. Like, yes, he had the anti-missile on the sabers, but it's probably the worst anti-missile in the game. So maybe a few of those changes might have let him push me out of the game when I was nearly there on that unit drop round. So I hope you like the comeback. I think this is about as bad as it can get in Mechabellum right now for RNG in the game. There are some people that say, oh, there's a lot of RNG in Mechabellum. There really isn't. Like, you get to make the same choices your opponent does with the cards, and yes, sometimes they can benefit one player a little bit more than the other, but at the same time, like, you can anticipate things happening and just bring the counter the same round. So but this was a rough one. Like, Fire Badger into the Saber Specialist with Stormcallers against my Tarantulas. It's just, yeah, it was a depressing opening to see. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.
This video is done, but you don't have to be. Click one of these Mechabellum videos and keep watching. We got more crawling.